Welcome, my friends, to another episode of The Woggers Way. I'm Uncle Brian with Woggers General Services in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, do you happen to have a bathroom faucet that constantly drips and no matter how hard you turn the handles, you can't get it to stop? Well, today, I'm going to show you how to fix that on a two-handle Delta bathroom faucet. But before I jump into the video, I just want to mention something. From time to time in my videos, I may recommend tools and materials. Now, my recommendations are from my many years of using these products. But sometimes these items may change and they may no longer be of the quality I expect or want to continue to recommend. So, if you've ever purchased something that I've recommended and you're not happy with it, I'd appreciate it you sending me an email to let me know what the issue is, so I can follow up on that item to see if I need to change my recommendations. That trust you're placing in me, I take very seriously. And I want you to know that if I recommend, promote, or advertise anything on my channel, it will only be items that I believe in. You can email me through my website that's linked in my bio below. Okay, let's get into the video.
The first step is to remove the caps off the top of the handles. Now, a knife or a really thin screwdriver will work to pop them off. To remove the handles, take out the screws that are holding them on. This will require a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, remove the retaining nut holding the cartridge.
Wait a second. First, you need to turn the water supply to the faucet off. Now, underneath the sink will be the stops to shut off the water. One for the cold and one for the hot. Now, the type you have may be different from these. They could be the multi-turn, in which case you just keep turning them clockwise until they stop. They could be quarter turn, like these ones, which, as the name implies, you only need to give them a quarter turn to shut them off. Or you may have those push-pull type. Now, once you have them turned off, open both handles to confirm that the water is actually off and to relieve the pressure. Now, if you're unable to turn them off for whatever reason, or they just don't work when you do turn them off, you'll need to shut off the water either at the meter or at the main shutoff, if you happen to have a main shutoff. Whatever it takes, you need to get the water to the faucet off before going any further. Now that the water to the faucet is off, and you've opened both handles to relieve the pressure, you can continue.
Use a wrench or a pair of pliers to unscrew the retaining nut on both handles. Now remove the cartridges. You can use a screwdriver to pry them up and pull them out, or if they're tough to pull out, you can grab the stem with a pair of pliers and wiggle it while pulling straight up.
Once you remove the cartridges, there should not be any water coming out. If there is, like I have going on here, it means that either you didn't turn the stops into the sink all the way off, or the stops are faulty and they need to be changed out. In that case, you'll need to shut the water to the house off at the meter or the main shutoff valve. Now, with water running like this, it'll make it very difficult to get the new springs and seats to stay in place while you change out the cartridges. I was just a little too lazy to go downstairs and outside to shut it off at the meter, so I just struggled with it and then I just edited out all my swearing. So trust me when I say you don't want any water flowing out of these ports. Now, Delta makes several different types of cartridges. To ensure that you get the correct ones for your faucet, take one of the old cartridges that you just removed down to your plumbing supplier, hardware store, or big box retailer to match them up. Now, you want to make sure that not only do you get the cartridges, but also the springs and seats. Now, in this case, the springs and seats came with the cartridge. Before I get into the installation part, if you like the content I'm putting out there, I'd appreciate a tap on that thumbs up like button and subscribing to my channel. Now, I have a goal to reach 15,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. And I'm conducting monthly drawings also for subscribers for free merchandise. Plus, if you don't subscribe, I'm not going to show you how to put all this back together again. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. But subscribing to help me reach my goal is truly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, let's get back into it.
Here's a close-up of some springs and seats. Now, there are a couple different types, so make sure to get the one that matches the ones in your faucet. The seat sits over the end of the spring. On the shorter springs, they're tapered, and the seat sits over the smaller tapered end. The wider end goes into the faucet. The spring pushes the seat against the bottom of the cartridge, which creates the seal and shuts off the water. When you turn the handle, the cartridge turns, so the opening in the bottom of the cartridge now moves over the hole in the center of the seat, allowing the water to flow. To get the old ones out of your faucet, just take your Phillips screwdriver and pull them out. Now they can be a little challenging, not only to put the new ones in, but to make sure that they stay in place while inserting the cartridge. The easiest way to install them is to place the seat onto the spring, slide the whole thing onto your Phillips screwdriver. Then, while holding them up on the screwdriver, place the tip of the screwdriver into the hole that the spring sits in, and then just let it slide down the screwdriver. The screwdriver will guide it right into the hole. When you're placing the cartridges back in, there's little tabs on them that line up with these notches on the faucet. Also, the new springs are going to want to push the cartridge up and out as you're trying to install it. So keep some pressure on the cartridge, pushing it down against the spring while you thread that retaining nut back on. Then just snug down the retaining nuts. Now don't go crazy here. They just need to be snug, so don't crank down on them too hard. Turn the water back on and test to make sure everything is working properly and no more dripping. If it's all good, place the knobs back on and tighten them down with the screws you took out earlier. Placing a little plumber's grease on the threads makes it easier. Plus, if you have to remove them again in the future, it'll make that easier also. And finally, snap the index buttons back onto the handles. If they're color-coded, put the red one on for hot on the left and the blue one for cold on the right. Also make sure any wording, if there is any, isn't at an angle. Make sure everything turns on and off properly and there's no more dripping. Hey, did you notice how the water turned black there for a second? Here, let me slow it down for you and zoom in. Don't worry, that's normal. That's just dirt and grease from the manufacturing process for the cartridges being flushed out. It'll only last a split second.
It's a simple process, just a couple key things to keep in mind though. Number one, shut off the water before disassembly. Super important. And number two, when you put the retaining nuts back on to hold the cartridge, don't cross thread them. And if there's a bunch of corrosion on them, clean the threads and nuts with some vinegar before putting them back together. And if you coat the threads with some plumber's grease, it sure makes putting them back together a lot easier. Go ahead and drop a comment down below on your experiences fixing your faucets, or just say hi, or how much you enjoy watching me. And before I jump out of here to make the next video, don't forget to tap on that thumbs up like button and subscribe. Woggers Way merchandise is also available, along with a way to win some free merchandise, and there's a link to everything down below. I truly appreciate you watching my channel, and if you haven't had enough of me, there's another video right over here to occupy your time. And look at that, a subscribe link right over there, just in case. Once again, this is Uncle Brian. Bye now.